Do you follow my Twitter? You read me on Twitter, right?
I do.
Did you see the worst NFT in the world that I posted today?
Which is the NFT? Was it the Disaster Girl one?
Maybe was it the Elon Musk Ziggy Stardust?
Oh, what?
Let's see. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Jesus Christ. 1989. Fall of the Berlin Wall.
So we're talking about revolutions, huh?
That wasn't really a revolution, was it? What do you call
I guess it's
that?
the end of a revolution. Unrevolution. We're talking about defeated revolutions. So
Yeah.
extra good. Yeah. How you doing today?
What's that?
How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm coming off a burrito right now, so I'm just trying to get the juices flowing again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great choice.
Cancun, baby.
A Cancun. Yeah. I'm big fan. That's such a perfect burrito.
Yeah, it's great.
Nice.
I remember going to Cancun on Cinco de Mayo last year.
Ooh.
And it turns out everybody else had the same idea, and their kind of waiting area was packed, and it was just like people with barely any mouth coverings, like people with like the handkerchief tied over their face, which doesn't do a goddamn thing, right?
Right, because May 5th last year was not good.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And I went in there and I immediately turned around and walked out and left my burritos there. I was like, I'm not gonna mess with this.
Oh shit. Yeah, I mean, how many times during the pandemic did you like get takeout and then fret for 2 weeks that takeout was the one that was going to give you COVID? Because I did that at least like 4 times.
Really, I think I never. Maybe picking up the takeout was what I was afraid.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
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 Yeah, a couple times you had to like go into the restaurant and you were like, why did I go in there with a mask on? This is it. That air was poison.
Yeah.
It's all over.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just Bunny and I were just talking about how it kind of seems like people aren't really wearing masks as much outside anymore. I think like people have gotten the vaccine and they're like ready to throw all caution to the wind, I think.
And the CDC just said, forget about it. Don't worry about it. So
yeah, it's so weird, right?
It's not going to help anyone. Yeah.
Well, they give very complex advice, right? They like release like this like chart, which is like a matrix, like a 5x5 matrix of scenarios and color coding and like.
Yeah, exactly. They gave you a flowchart to work with, and like, the flowchart was just a chart of excuses, right? Like everyone's going to be like, cool, I can just say I have case 1, and now I don't need to wear a mask anymore. So that's
right.
That's where we are.
Yeah,
a little annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, I get my second shot on Saturday, and I'm not going to be super duper worried after that. So,
yeah. We've made our first kind of like post-COVID lunch plans. We're like meeting with a couple of other couples for lunch in a few weeks.
Fancy.
Probably be
Indoors?
outdoors. It'll probably be outdoors,
Okay.
but everyone will be vaccinated presumably. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you two have been slightly more conservative than I have in terms of outside stuff for this one, but I've done most things outside and it's been pretty okay.
Yeah, I don't live with a I don't have. It's basically just been me and Bunny. Yeah.
Right. Y'all didn't have a pod to deal with basically, which is
exactly.
Both good and bad. But also I've seen friends outside the pod. We had lunch outside twice.
We did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, outside's gonna be safe. I hope all the parklets that we've built this year just stay there forever.
I hope so too.
Yeah, no more parking spaces, just outdoor tables. Seems great.
Yeah, they just I think they're starting a bicycle barricade at my intersection because I live at the corner, and
nice.
I can no longer turn left onto my street or right onto my street depending on which direction I'm coming down Milvia. And
I bike up Milvia a lot, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah,
sorry if it's annoying.
Ultimately, it's fine. I just hope that it's solving a real problem. Is all.
That's a main bike corridor. That's like one of the few ones to get through that part of Berkeley, I think. So
yeah. So you have less kind of cross traffic as you drive down Milvia because it's
that's
getting
great.
getting cut off. Yeah,
Oh, I'm thrilled by that. I guess I'm not sure that road needed anything. It was already so sleepy, but you know what? Whatever.
that's kind of what I'm getting at a little bit. But
Yeah, that's fair.
you know what? It's fine if it promotes bikers, not I mean bicyclists specifically. Yeah.
That is also the only road I've ever gotten a ticket on in Berkeley as being a bicyclist. So I think also bicycle improvements mean that the cops show up and start like watching for bicyclists doing weird shit,
Oh.
which is very very annoying actually.
What kind of weird shit did you do?
I ran a stop sign on my bike.
Okay. I thought that's legal now.
Oh, it wasn't 4 years ago. It's called the Idaho Stop. Yeah, I think we've considered it.
San Francisco? Is it legal in San Francisco?
Oh shit! No, this might have happened in 2019. That's great. Fucking mercurynews.com. I've never been on this site and been happy about it.
Yeah, they have a pretty firm paywall.
Oh, I know. Oh shit. Okay. Cool. Deprioritize enforcement.
It's just like decriminalizing drugs.
I hope so. Okay. Yeah, I like it. I didn't know that. This must have been. Yeah, this was just pre-pandemic. So then everything didn't matter after that. Sick.
Yeah. By the way, Dean's in chat.
This is great.
He says that he's coming in to check on the Shiba. The Shiba's still
What's
in
up,
the game.
Dean? The Shiba is here.
Yeah.
And the Shiba
I haven't taken it out
power.
of the game.
No, we don't remove the Shiba. Well, I see. So is our impact actually just always straight up? Oh yeah, that's actually. I feel like we've got actually some bugs there. That's fine.
So I started a branch where I started to convert the game into 3D, and it was going to be gnarly. So I have to rethink my strategy a little
Okay.
bit.
Interesting. How gnarly did it get?
Our entire collision system, we have to think
Yeah.
about how 2D or 3D we want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just slightly, like every conversion from 2D to 3D is slightly more painful than it needs to be, and it kind of compounds into something really gnarly. In particular, the fact that the 2D positive y-axis is the same thing as the 3D negative z-axis. Just like the change of position and change of sign at the same time. Imagine doing that everywhere. And then there's like kind of questions on what to do when there's something that is like actually physically above the ground and you're trying to do collision detection. How do you create a two-dimensional axis line bounding box for that situation? Do you try to do the three-dimensional collision? And if so, you have to write a whole collision routine for that. So
Yep. Those are really hard questions. Okay. Yeah.
And then I got tempted into thinking, well, maybe we should just put Bullet or some other 3D physics system into the game. But the problem with that is, like, I don't know if you can do that with the rollback simulation system. That would be a very strange situation. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. I'm just blowing myself up on the edge of the world.
Yeah,
here.
I see that. It's pretty good. Did you just
All
die?
I killed all 3 dogs at once. Yeah.
Wow.
It's pup-aside. Oh god, I crashed the server. Sorry.
Oh, that's what happens when you die. The game
Yeah.
crashes.
This doesn't happen much anymore, you know?
Yeah, we just have too many hit points.
Huh. Yeah, I was just enjoying the experience of mortaring everyone in the same direction at once. Yeah, it's cute. Damn. Okay. I didn't do any work on quadratic equations because I was trying to speedrun Disco Elysium and finally did it. So
Yes, tell me about
that was my
experience.
priority.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you? So I mean, that game was spectacular.
Yeah, we're about to spoil Disco Elysium. So for folks in chat or
Sorry.
folks on stream, sorry about that, but we're gonna go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for like weeks. They should have bought it.
They were warned.
Yeah. No, super great. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I I really liked the way that everything. I feel like every sort of side diversion had some bearing on the final sort of case where you found the deserter, and
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I thought they did a really good job of sort of like putting putting some reason into everything, but also not making everything super important. It was just like you got like little extra bits of insight, or like you could answer like questions that like you didn't know you cared about, but then you got a satisfying answer to it anyway.
Yeah. So tell me, I actually don't know what the possibilities of the game are, but tell me a little bit about your playthrough so I can see like how much mine overlapped with yours.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely a super communist,
Okay.
and I mean, I didn't fuck shit up with Cuno so much. Like I tried to punch the kid, but also
Did you hit him?
I did not hit him.
I
I
missed
fell
him
flat
too.
on my face.
I
Yeah.
definitely tried to punch Kuno.
Oh yeah, I mean that he deserved the punch. Um, but I was a very empathetic cop, so I actually like was able to sort of like appeal to him after I forget what he needed me to do, but like I basically like became his friend. Oh, I brought him a book. I brought him a
Okay.
book, and he thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and his friend
And
thought
you
it was
broke
really
into his
awesome.
house, right?
Yeah, so after that, you get to break into his house and steal drugs from his dad. And then I kind of left it.
Wait,
I didn't really.
you're talking about
Yeah.
the shed in the yard, right?
Oh no, I'm talking about his real house.
Oh, he has a real house.
His real house, his real dad. I met his father.
Wait, where's his real house?
It's the apartment you can't get into in the apartment building.
Is it upstairs where the where
No,
the
it's
other...
it's downstairs. It's not near the smoker or the person you bring the dead body to.
Okay, got it.
No, there's like one room. Hey, want to become famous? Get out of here. Z instinct. Not
Oh
into
man,
it.
we're getting bombed here. This is great.
Huh.
I think we've made it. I think we've made it big time. That's what this is. That's what this is signifying, isn't it?
Brilliant. Yeah, this is it. We did it.
Yeah.
I like. I don't know. I was gonna say I like that they didn't show up on the stream, but there they are. Too bad you can't delete these. You might have the power to delete them. Who knows? I don't know how chat works.
Yeah, I need to do
Um,
it. I don't
so-
actually know what I'm doing here.
That's
There's like this
fine.
pop over that. Yeah, but it's fine.
Yeah. I really liked. That's funny. I really liked his story. Actually, I thought it was just sort of interesting because he's just a street ruffian, like who like has had a rough shake of it and sort of clearly made his own persona to survive,
Yeah.
but then predictably has some like deeper stuff going on, while still being a huge asshole the whole time.
Right.
Like it's not like he stops being Kuno ever.
Yeah. So I guess this is a warning for everybody, including you, Dom.
Yeah.
You got to get ready for some pretentious takes coming from my direction.
I expected no less. Yeah, it's yeah. I didn't do the communist quest yet. I'm gonna go back and do that one because it sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's funny, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I wanna hear about the DSA meeting that they've integrated into this game somehow.
Yeah, it was basically a DSA meeting.
And what's awful is that since these are Estonian developers in the UK, like they have no experience of our DSA. Like it's their own leftist stuff, and it's exactly the same bullshit. So
Yeah.
a little heartbreaking.
Yeah, actually, they have this. You get the book. You get a book from them that you read.
Oh
It's
no.
really funny.
But
It's funny that you say that about Kuno, right? Kuno kind of
Yeah.
has invented his own personality, right, to kind of like cope with life. And I think that's ultimately what the game is about in like small and large scale is about like I think it's about faith and illusions that we tell ourselves. And like I don't think I think the game is very, very empathetic to that tendency in people. And it's like the people that engage in it you laugh at, but I think the game like has like a very, very deep and generous way of handling it, you know. There's Cuno, which I didn't even know they did that, but like there's a through line from the cryptozoologist and his wife. What was his wife's name again? I forget her.
Lena. Yeah.
Lena Morel, right? There's the hardcore anodic dance music kids.
Oh my god, they were so good.
There's the royalist.
Hmm.
There's, I mean, obviously the like obviously like the forgotten communists, right? Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, I think the game is all about these like kind of utopian or illusion, like fantastical illusions that we tell ourselves. Um, Even the church, right? Like the Church of Dolores Day as well. Like it's about like, yeah, we kind of like tell ourselves these lies, but we have to. That's what it means to be human, really. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
because every character you meet ultimately like you end up talking to them about their essence, like their core ideology. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was such an interesting experience because I feel like most of the best parts of the game were actually like not solving a crime, but in fact, uh, like meeting a stranger and like finding out what makes them tick, and
Right.
like yeah, like I don't know how much. I mean, you did more raver stuff than I did actually. So like getting into like each raver has their own sort of individual distinct philosophy on what's going on. I was just like these characters have
Did you
way
talk to
they have like
Noid all the way through?
I didn't get all the way through. I don't think our signs vibed yet, but they might.
Okay,
I haven't got the music playing yet. I went on a speedrun to the end game because I really
got
wanted
it.
to
Okay,
like
yeah.
at least have the full story in my head. Yeah, I'm planning to revisit them, finish my Cuno thing, probably do one where Kim dies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious what that's like. Yeah, did you throw a Molotov cocktail at the bad guys?
I didn't have a Molotov cocktail, but I would
Ah,
have
aha.
if I had one.
Yeah. The
Did you
did your
make one?
tie?
How do
Yeah,
you?
did your tie talk to you at all?
Yes, but I took it
Okay.
off after at some point.
Oh, I wore the tie the whole goddamn game.
I wore a
They
bow
told
tie
me
for most of
to.
the game.
One of the quests was very clear that said, "Do not take off your necktie," so I didn't.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering what would happen if you didn't take it off. So what happens?
Uh, yeah. So the tie compels you to buy a vial of blue alcohol from some of the hobos in
I
the
bought
fish
that.
market.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then right before you meet Ruby, the tie starts talking to you, and the tie is like, "Put me in the bottle."
got it.
And you put the tie in the bottle, and the alcohol cleans off the dirt on the horrible necktie, so it becomes a beautiful necktie.
Okay,
And then you throw it at the commander in the tribunal when you get there. And the tie maybe chokes him to death after you set him on fire. It's unclear. You think you see the tie choke him to death in its final act of tyness.
so that kills one of them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
One of the three, and then you basically don't have to. You have one less skill check to worry about.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to kill all three of them, right? Like there's no way to get through that scenario is to just kill them, right?
Yep, seems right.
Yeah. Um. So
Such a weird experience, man.
and
God,
did you go to did you take a nap in the bunker at the end?
no, because it kept breaking my game.
Right. That so let's talk about that a little bit. That game is buggy as fuck. It
Extremely buggy.
almost to
Yeah.
the point of being broken, right? Like
Which like it's a text adventure in Unity. How do you mess that up that bad?
it's I had that same thought the entire time. Like how do you? But the funny thing is like a lot of these like role playing games with like tons of state and tons of like options that can influence the way
I
the
would say
game is going to go end up
the
being
amount of
like
triggers. Yeah.
yes, yeah, they end up being really buggy. Um, and I thought I thought actually my save was like irrevocably broken because I couldn't get, Pigs, the homeless woman who thinks she's a cop.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't get her
I
to show
loved that
up on the
character.
boardwalk.
Oh shit.
And
That's a real bummer.
yeah, well, I just kept playing and eventually I got her. So I actually did
Nice.
get the gun. Yeah.
That's good. I love that interaction, especially when like your character even internalizes it. Like, this must be what it's like when the cops show up. And I was like, yeah, dude. Uh, I just loved it. Like, I don't know, for two cops, I feel like Kim and Harry really, I don't know,
Yeah.
they still managed to be humans about it,
Right.
which I don't know how I feel about being a good cop, but it was a great game.
We mentioned this a little bit earlier, I think, but the game does believe in cops, right? I feel like that is the
I think so.
you
Yeah.
can't not have a procedural like that about two detectives without ultimately believing in what they do, right? And you can have,
Yeah.
you can absolutely have like Chinatown or something like that, where you're like, you ultimately like are criticizing or parodizing the institution that you're portraying. But I don't think that was the case at all with Disco Elysium, which is interesting.
That's a good. Mm-hmm. I wonder.
Yeah,
It definitely. I mean, I feel like it spent a lot of time asking about what the role of police in society is, and maybe didn't actually arrive at like a very useful conclusion about it. Maybe
right.
you were supposed to decide that on your own. I thought the very last scene where everyone sort of like walks away. It almost ended like a sitcom where you like sort of walk away and life goes back to normal and everyone like kind of has a laugh and you freeze frame. Uh, yeah, it was just weird.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is like they kind of like give you the whole recap of the things that you accomplished, and it's framed as like, will we let you back on the force or not, right?
Mhm.
And weirdly, that ends up being the prize of the game, is to be like allowed back
Is to
into
be a
the
cop.
Brotherhood
I
of
know.
Cops, right?
I could have said no probably. You probably could have rejected that yourself and that
Yeah,
would have
and
been the
you can,
choice.
but like also recruiting Kim is like
I
seen as
know.
a thing, right? Like
I did that. I really wanted to.
I did
Yeah,
too, yeah, because Kim is great, right?
he's the best.
Yeah,
Oh, Dean's in the chat. I made the dogs bigger, and Dean.
he's happy
Yeah,
about it.
scarce. This is scarcely a game at all. It's just dogs enjoying a crisp fall day.
It's true.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is Disco Elysium. Also, a game that is scarcely a game at all. I mean, what was it a game? It was definitely a game, but like, did I make any choices that mattered?
um, I mean, it matters in like in contours, right? It matters
Yeah.
in like the way that different like other interactions in the game play out. So I think that that's great. I don't know if it matters for the ending so much.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, we'll have to find out, but I think that ending is probably that ending.
So let's talk about
And
that
like
ending.
yeah, the deserter. So yeah, you find the deserter
Yeah,
who has committed the murder you care about out of sheer like spite and revolutionary anger. I really liked him actually. I thought that was at least a great turn. But then it turns out he's high off a cryptid hallucinogenic juice, which was a little weird.
yeah,
Uh, did you talk to the cryptid?
I did. Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
my ending was, I figured out. I think I pretty much got to the bottom of it, right? Because I had like gotten into the secret passageway of the Whirling and Rags, and I found his footprints, and like we figured out his motive, right? And I'm not
Right.
sure if the game has anything else underneath that.
Yeah, but his motive was purely just like it was like anger and like a weird fixation on Klaska.
Yeah.
Or was there a deeper one that you found? Like that
No,
was it, right?
that was basically
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
His motive was basically just toxic masculinity, which like is pretty good for the world they set up, I think actually.
Yeah.
It was
Well, we talked a little bit about this last night, but the ending. Like, did you like the ending?
it sort of it shocked me. I liked who the killer was.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he wasn't trying that it wasn't like a giant political setup, but in fact sort of just a senseless murder.
Yeah.
Because it could have been like a deep convoluted plot about union shit, and like that would have been dumb. I think.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't. I would have been less interested in a deep power struggle. I like that there was a power struggle, and you sort of like elbow your way into it, but it's not actually what this guy wanted. He just hated fascists and wanted to kill one,
Yeah.
and then there were consequences for it. Uh, yeah, I like the ending. I was like kind of overjoyed to see the Phasmid. I was just like, oh fuck yeah, that thing is real.
I had the feeling
Like,
it was gonna come, right? Because the cryptozoologist side quest goes on for so long
it's too long.
that you
Yeah.
knew that they were like. You do actually have kind of like a human resolution to that, where like Lena is like, we're getting old now, and I'm worried that like our whole marriage is based on this pursuit that's a total lie.
Mm-hmm.
Again, to go with the kind of like the lies we tell ourselves to get through life, but like ultimately, like that was just a framing device for their marriage, right? It wasn't. It's not actually load bearing for them. They have a relationship that extends beyond that, But she was worried that it didn't have any substance.
Yeah.
I thought that was really poignant. But also, I just had I couldn't believe that the game wasn't going to have the actual Phasmid in it.
Yeah, I guess I expected to show up, but I also did not expect it to be sort of the climactic part of the game. Like I was like, okay, that thing will probably show up and it'll be weird,
Yeah.
but not that it would be evidence of the murder.
Yeah.
But also like the world was really weird and magical, right? Like there was like holes in reality, and
there's the Pale.
yeah, the Pale as sort of this like weird insanity causing nothingness that is spreading was like they at least set up some fantastical stuff.
Yeah. So the ending for me, like, gosh, I have so many thoughts about that particular ending. I agree with you that I like that the murderer like ends up being actually, first of all, a great kind of like character, just being this person who's like was in the communist revolution, but then like abandoned it, but then as a result, kind of like oversteered into insanity. You know, he became kind of like this like lone. I don't know. Is he must be allegorical for some kind of left trend where it's just like people felt like they didn't quite go all the way when, you know, when like 20th century, you know, left movements like couldn't quite get over the hump, you know.
Yeah,
and, like,
is your representative like sort of that guilty experience of like I could have done more, like the revolution would have succeeded if I stayed or died with my brothers,
possibly,
or like
yeah.
I didn't do enough, I didn't commit myself fully
I think
to the
he is
cause.
the crystallization of like the self-flagellating leftist, right? It's like I didn't do enough, you know. And I was a coward when it mattered, and now my whole life is like I'm basically a hobo with a gun, you know. But I actually thought that like the killing should have been even more senseless. Like I actually thought like him being like actually having this kind of like weird fixation on Clausier and like wanting to like kill her lover. I thought it like that's fine, but like then he wasn't really telegraphed enough, you know. Like I wish that there were more hints of his existence in the world. I think there were basically two prior to you getting to him. One is, I guess there's three.
Footprints.
Footprints is the obvious one. I think the second one is like just the presence of all these like random communist bunkers like sitting around. Like they kind of like left that to be like almost like the literal Chekhov's rifle. Like, oh, there's got to be, this has to come back around because there's so much of this like shadow of the revolution from before. And what's the third thing?
I don't know. I thought it was just the shoes.
Yeah. Well, there's another kind of like hinting towards him, but
the flowers. The flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, but he's also not like. A lot of times what mysteries will do is they'll have a character that you've interacted with in the game be the murderer, right? And that can be fun and exhilarating, maybe a little bit cheap. And you could tell that they wanted to avoid the cheap kind of clever ending. Like the murderer could have just been Clausier, who's literally like the first character you meet in the game, right? That would have been like a pretty classic in formula type of resolution, right?
Yeah, that would have been surprising, but also like expected somehow.
Right. But like I thought they could have gone even further with the senselessness of it, where you go through all of these extraordinary like hoop jumping hijinks to figure out who the murderer is. And it would have almost been better if he was just taking pot shots at a guy that he saw across the bay, you know? And basically everything that you did in the game was basically just based on this random act of chance. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's interesting. I get, yeah. I can dig how that's more satisfying. I do like that the character itself sort of ended up being exactly the theme you were talking about in terms of the lies we tell ourselves, because the revolution was still, he kept talking about it in the present tense, right? Like,
yeah,
he was still a revolutionary warrior with no revolution. So
yeah, or he was. I mean, his analysis still the same. I didn't know that if he thought the revolution was still going on, he just hated the world for abandoning him, basically, right?
I guess he still talked about himself as a member of the destroyed party. So he was like still there and like the last one, basically, like the only true believer now.
Right.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I think that might be where we differ the most because I actually really liked that that was sort of the setup because
Yeah.
he murdered they implied pretty strongly he'd murdered at least one other person and probably more.
Oh yeah, that was the other hint that it was
Yeah,
the murdered union boss from before, because it was
that's
like
right.
pretty clear
Yeah.
that the union boss before Claire was killed, right?
Hmm.
Um, so you mentioned another thing about the ending, which is the phasmid, and I love the
Which
moment
I
of the
feel like
phasmid.
I'm just gonna put this on the screen because
Yeah, that's
the word phasmid is meaningless.
yeah,
Insulindian. Yeah. There you go. I
yeah,
mean, dude, this shit was so good.
yeah.
Nope,
Did you
that's a
talk to it?
picture. I talked to the heck out of that thing.
Did you
Yeah.
lick its secretions?
I
I
gotta
didn't have
say,
the
I
heart
did.
to.
I did not lick this creature. Uh, yeah. Color me. Yeah. Color me. I don't know. I was too cowardly to lick it. It didn't. It didn't seem like it wanted to be licked.
No. Um,
Yeah.
no, what I meant is like you like put your hand on it and you get like
Yeah.
goo on your hand, and then you have an
Mhm.
option to lick your hand. And I didn't quite do it because I was a little bit afraid. It was like the end of the
Oh,
game.
I think I pulled my hand away. I don't think I got the goo out of my hand.
Okay. Um, so
That's funny.
did you ever watch My Dinner with Andre? Do you know that movie?
Dinner with Andre. No.
Um, do you know the actor Wallace Shawn?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he's the inconceivable guy
Yeah.
from The Princess Bride, and also Grand Nagus
The
Zek
Grand
from
Nagus
DS9.
Sec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's really weird, but there's I thought the faces in the bottom left for us for a second. I was like, why am I seeing the videos? But no, it's just character portraits exactly where our video should
right.
be.
Yeah, totally. People can't see it on the stream. If you scroll down a little bit, I think people will be able to see it.
Maybe. If I
Oh,
zoom-
yeah, that'll do it. Yeah. Um, and so My Dinner with Andre is basically a movie about just two guys having dinner. It's Wallace Shawn and a guy named Andre. Uh,
Mhm.
and in real life, those two were like friends in like the New York theater scene in like the
Hmm.
60s and 70s. And this movie was shot in, I want to say, the late 70s. And they just sit at the dinner table and they talk about uh, just like art and the theater and why you do it. And it gets like really kind of like esoteric, and you would think it's almost pretentious the way that they talk about, their creative life, but they're so passionate about it that you go with it.
Hmm.
And they also talk a little bit and they kind of like exude a little bit of this kind of like leftist disappointment at the world, because this is like the late 70s, so it's only 10 years at most after 1969, right? Which is when like basically like a lot of basically the apex of like the post-war left movement in the West, at least, and then the
Yep.
subsequent dismantling of it, right? And they talk about that and about how like they basically see the world taking a very, very dark turn, which is interesting because like maybe like that was mid 70s, mid
I was gonna say,
stagflation,
nailed it. Yeah.
yeah. But there's this one scene where you realize that Andre, who's the guy Wallace Shawn is talking to, probably had a pretty serious mental breakdown in his life, because he's like relating all these like kind of very strange situations that happened to him in his life. And he talks about being in a church and him seeing a blue centaur sitting like across the room, and he's being
Wow.
completely deadpan about it. He's not
Wow.
he's not really joking. He's like, I saw this creature and I took it as a sign that like maybe the world is telling me that things are okay. You've seen this amazing creature, like and it like on the one
That's funny.
hand,
So this
like,
this was the blue centaur moment.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like on the one hand, like he's had a psychotic break, but on the other hand, he's like kind of seeing something that's like a manifestation of his humanity in a certain way, right? And so I very much thought the phasmid. That's what I thought of when during the phasmid scene. But the
that makes
phasmid
sense,
is
yeah.
real in Disco Elysium, right? Like Kim takes a picture of it and he sees it too.
Yeah, I love that. And then also like at the end when everyone's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" and Kim like whips out a picture and he's like, "No, I got this."
Yeah, right.
Was very satisfying actually.
Yeah. So what I wasn't quite satisfied by though was like its positioning in the game. Like it was like directly juxtaposed to you finding the killer, and then they turn the screw and say that it was actually the phasmid that was somehow influencing the killer, and that to me was just like completely unnecessary. Like they didn't need to have the connection there whatsoever.
Yeah, I wish it hadn't been that.
Yeah.
In particular, I agree. But it's too bad because I really liked the phasmid and the killer individually.
Yes, individually it was great.
So, yeah.
But I would say putting them together at the same time and then also tying them together causally is very like it was a weird creative choice. But I don't know.
It's almost like had the phasmid been sort of a thing that let you get the break in the case to go to the island.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting to relate them not as part of the killer's motive. Yeah. But also, I mean, I think the deserter's position is entirely of his own making, right? Like he doesn't need to be hiding on this island. Like his influence by the phasmid is actually like he did it to himself. It was a lot of self-harm on his part, unintentionally and intentionally.
You know, I think it might. I think the ending might work if Kim doesn't see the phasmid, and instead the phasmid is you essentially seeing this guy's insanity, right? Because like in a certain sense, you have Inland Empire. Like basically, if Harry Dubois has or Tequila Sunrise has like a superpower. It's that his own psychosis makes him like see what other people can see, right? He's almost like empathic in that way, right? Almost like synesthetically, right? He can basically see what people are like thinking. Like you talk to the dead body, right? Like you.
Oh, it was so good, yeah.
So I thought like if the phasmid was portrayed in that way, where like Harry basically can see what's happening to the deserter as basically in the metaphor of the phasmid, because he's got the phasmid on his mind, right? Because he was talking to the cryptozoologist and everything like that. I think that would have worked really, really well. But they kind of sell the phasmid as actually being like a physically real thing, right? It's not just an in your head kind of thing.
Well, it's yeah. It was interesting because I feel like there was actually a lack of characters in this game who were superfluous. Like there wasn't really a side quest that didn't sort of plug into the end in some way.
Yeah.
And sort of looking back at how it unfolded, it's really interesting to see that working, I guess. Yeah. Because even the Ravers and the programmer were like sort of at least giving you pictures of the hole in the world and sort of what is going wrong in this city.
Yeah. If you get a chance, oh gosh, I don't want to spoil this for you, but I really want to talk about it as well. If you go to sleep in the bunker before you head out, right before you meet the deserter.
I'll try again. Yeah. Do you dream? Like what happens?
Yeah, you have an incredible dream.
Okay. That sounds like it's worth it.
Yeah.
Great.
You have an incredible. I really want to know what you think about that dream. And did you also get into the crate in the shipyards?
No,
the one that's hooked to the crate.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
you should get into that too.
Okay. Yeah, I tried opening it a couple times, and it kept telling me that Rhetoric was not going to open this door as usual.
Your ability gets better and better and better over as the days go on.
Ah, shit. Okay, I'll try that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a short list of things to go back and do, so that's exciting.
Yeah. So I kind of just a couple more things I want to ask you about. One is like, what do you think the game's relationship to drugs is?
Ooh, I mean, I think what's so interesting
in that kind of group as well.
Yeah, well, it's treated exactly the same, which I really like actually.
Yeah.
I think I like tried to keep my guy clean the whole time. I think I had a drink, and it actually like played off really negatively at the end, where like everyone was like, "You're drunk," and I'm like, "That was on day 2." But yeah, I thought it had almost a healthy relationship, because like a lot of people were using drugs to like dull the pain, like dull physical pain, or dull like what is a pretty shitty world to live in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even like I thought everyone, I don't know, maybe I didn't run into like too many burnouts beside Klassia.
Yeah.
but like she was in it for the fun. I thought the game like kind of let it be. It was pretty non-judgy about it in my mind. Like it was like you can go too far, but also like everyone's gonna make their own choice about this, and
Yeah.
some people need it.
Interesting. Like, I don't know. I actually got the sense that they had a fairly conservative attitude about drugs.
Mm.
I thought they were kind of sensationalistic about it, and that they almost wanted to have. They very much had like a Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas kind of vibe about the main character, right? You're
Yeah,
almost like
that's for sure. You
you
fear
know,
and loathing yourself into a whole new character.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're like a Hunter S. Thompson figure, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if there was like an in between about the drug use. It's either like it completely destroys your life. Like there's no like high functioning drug user in that game, or alcoholic in that game, right? Like the that one dude who was wearing the tracksuit, one of the three bums in the fishing village.
Oh, I
he
did
was
forget
hilarious.
about them. Yeah. What was his name? He wasn't Fuck the World. What was his name? Shit.
I forget. But his whole story about how he ended up being a bum is hilarious because he talks about it like it happened last Tuesday, you know. He's like,
Oh,
yeah,
right.
well, you know, I just like lost my keys. That's why I'm out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was really funny. Oh yeah, that's true. I guess I saw that like there wasn't a lot of other choices for the people in this game though.
Yeah.
Like they were living in what was like bombed out Poland essentially.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't like there was a nightclub. I mean, I guess there was one by the end of the game, but yeah, it wasn't like there was a any sort of social gathering space or like community building because everyone just had to like scrounge for food and like maybe make it by.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I
don't
guess
know.
fundamentally,
I found
though,
it
like
fairly sympathetic. Yeah.
fundamentally to me, like I think they framed drugs as being an escape, but also they I think they fully accept the narrative of how harmful it can be, which actually, you know, it can be really harmful, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
does the game think that it's a good thing that drugs are a controlled substance? I was actually not quite sure, you know?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting that it put alcohol and cigarettes sort of in the same bucket. Like they were all the same thing
Yeah.
to your character, which I thought it's very interesting that you could like either smoke a cigarette or take speed basically as your equivalent choices. So in that respect, yeah, I think that's what made me think it was more along the lines of like, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I feel like to apply that same judgment to cigarettes and alcohol is culturally usually a little further down the road. Like
Right.
much more conservative than I think they probably are. Yeah,
Because like there are kind of environments where like people can be like pro drug and it's fine. Like think about like modern day Silicon Valley, right? People talk about like microdosing LSD all the time, and like
I had a coworker who was microdosing for a while, and like I found out later, which was very weird.
It was very weird to find out, or very weird to be
find
around
out. Yeah,
person?
they were extremely normal, but to find out later was a very strange experience.
So I think there's very much like a class associated way that we think about drug use, right? Like if poor people are doing drugs, it's because like they're coping with something and they're gonna fuck up their lives, and part of their penury is due to their drug use, or it's like some kind of vicious cycle. But it's clear like there are environments where like we can frame drug use as just being this normal thing that people do, and like why are we all being so square about it? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah. All right, last topic on this for me.
Yeah, hit me.
I'm curious to know what you think the game thinks about the left.
I mean, I'm pretty positive that the people writing this were leftists.
Yes.
I can't imagine anything else being true.
Yeah.
And so what does it mean for leftists to make a game about cops potentially fighting the left? I mean, I liked by the end that I did not think of the Union necessarily as the left, which I think was part of it too. Like the Union was maybe this, well, They were maybe the liberals. I like they were like, oh, these are social democrats. And
Social
I was like,
Democrats, and
God.
they said it with
It's like
such disdain, which
I know.
is
I was
so
like, God, this game is really deep into
which
the
is so
communism.
funny. I don't know. In our DSA days, there was such a brouhaha over whether we were social democrats or democratic socialists. It was
No.
hilarious.
Yeah. When it got to that, I was like, like only a leftist could have written this. But
Yeah,
I think it. I mean, I think it was probably a uniquely. I mean, I don't know if you've been chastised for this before, but I feel like the American left likes to use the hammer and sickle,
yeah.
because it's a great symbol.
But
But
if you're
then a
from
lot of
Eastern Europe, right?
exactly a lot of Eastern Europeans will be like, dude, what the fuck? Like
It's like the
how
swastika
could
for
you?
me. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like it's not that far because like I feel like nothing's like the swastika for people, but it's like yeah, they're like that is rude, that is offensive, man. Like
yeah.
they killed a lot of folks. Yeah, actually, you're right. It probably is like swastika. I don't know. I haven't talked to Eastern Europeans about this,
Right.
so probably. Uh, but yeah, I feel like it was sort of maybe a sad love letter to like their experience of living in a post revolution, post end of the revolution
Yeah.
society where it's like, yeah, we really wanted to do things good for everyone, and then capitalism came in and like fucked us all again.
Right.
So here we are. Yeah, it felt a little resigned. I don't think it ended with a lot of hope about the left. I don't know if the Communist Quest does that, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine it gets that hopeful.
No, if anything, it probably makes it worse. Honestly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fair.
No, pretty clearly it makes it worse. Yeah, I think
I
you're
mean,
right.
to be fair, the way you find communists is you smell people, which like I thought immediately. I was like, oh no, like we're gonna have a problem.
Um, yeah, I mean, basically, the thing I'll spoil is that as far as I got into the Communist Quest, which is about like, I think I got close to the end, but I didn't completely finish it. But I went to the meeting, and like it's like a reading group between these two guys, and they're like completely full of shit. You know, like they're total
That's
like
hilarious.
they're total like intellectualizing posers. They're the people that wrote the article in the magazine that you find in the lobby of the Union. I don't know if you read that.
I did. I loved it because it was an article about how football is just a brutal blood sport and we should all hate it. And I was like, damn it, this game is taking the piss again. Yeah, actually, I think I even screenshotted that and saved that because I was just like, I'm gonna really enjoy this description of football for a while to come. Yep, totally.
Yeah, La
Yeah.
Fume it's basically you meet the guys that wrote it basically.
I love it. Delightful.
Yeah, and they gave you a book by a guy named Nilsson who's kind of like either the Lenin or the Trotsky to Mazov's Marx, right? Is Mazov Lenin or is he Marx? He's kind of like the combination.
He's Marx because he's got the beard and it's Mazovian economics, so he's got to be Marx.
But Mazov actually leads part of the revolution, right? So he does actually have a little bit more direct
It's a good point.
participation than Marx. Well, I guess Marx was part of the first internationality in 1870. So at any rate, Nilsson like writes this theory, and you read his book. It's actually one of the longest books. You can like sit there and read it for like 3 or 4 hours.
Serious? Oh my god.
Of game time, not.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Game time.
Great.
But
I didn't read any books in the game, and maybe I should have. I was. It was like,
but they're not.
It was like when you want to pass time, and I was like, I don't know if I have time to read a book.
Ooh, let's take a tangent on that subject really quick before I get back to the left thing.
Totally.
Which is that I felt like the passage of time was an
Really
unnecessary time, like an unnecessary mechanic in general for adding pressure to the game. Like,
yeah, but there would have been almost no pressure otherwise.
That's true.
And I like that it sort of forces you back into your. I feel like the entire mechanic was around forcing you back into your brain every night to experience like the limbic system and re-internalize what happened.
Right. But I got to like one encounter or one dream where it was like, this is the one before the last. So I was like, oh my God, am I going to have a stroke? Like what's going to happen right now? You know?
That's really funny. Yeah.
Or it could have just been because I was very close to the Ruby encounter, basically.
Yeah.
But like I felt like the time-based triggers, like having to be at certain places at certain times, it wasn't immersive to me. It was just like, okay, this is another opportunity for them to like expose the weaknesses of their scripting system, right?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Um,
I can see that. I liked there was also a day night transition too. I think
sure.
actually I wish they'd done more with it. Like I wish the day had been shorter and night had been longer with like more nighttime only things. Actually, I think that would have been a stronger system.
Yeah. I guess if nothing else, you would have felt like you had a little more freedom to explore the game and the content that they created if you didn't feel like you had this time pressure,
Yeah, but like, how can you solve a murder with like once you find out there's like armed mercenaries about to kill everyone? Like
Right.
the I thought it applied a sense of urgency in a very interesting way that was actually like unique for a game.
Sure.
Where like I thought I both couldn't fuck up and also that like it was important for me to keep moving in an interesting way.
But what if they didn't? What if they didn't like? What if there's no time that elapsed? If you could like read books and not have that consume time, that would have been good, right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, probably. I wonder. I wonder if there's time to do literally everything, which there might be.
Yeah.
The I guess I think of the alternative, which is like Skyrim, where you get the main quest, which is like
Yeah.
you need to go talk to the people at the top of the mountain to get your dragon powers. But instead, you spend 40 hours doing something else, and the game absolutely does not care that like you told them
Yeah.
you'd be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
I like that this was an attempt to at least like kind of tamp down that open world bullshit of time doesn't matter. Because like every RPG
Yeah.
you play, you're like Assassin's Creed, you're like, well, I know I need to go kill this guy like in a day, but
Yeah. I'm gonna go and grind for another 40 hours and like
I'm gonna go
totally.
like hang out in the sauna. Oh, yes, ESK's in the chat. What's
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says unnecessary time limits put me off really hard. Surely there must be another way to apply pressure. Yeah, yeah, it's true. For critical sections, it makes sense, but for the entire game, I guess it's interesting. I didn't feel pressured this game. I think you felt it immediately because you were like, oh shit, time is going.
Yeah, I felt it because it was just a lot I wanted to do, right? And even
Yeah.
reading the books like consumes time. In fact, that's actually the main way that you burn time in the game is you read a book, right? Yeah,
Yeah, that's like the only way to transition the night is to read, right?
right. So, anyways,
Yeah.
there's a book that you can get written by the guy called Nilsson, who's Mazov. So he's like, kind of like a Trotsky or a Lukács
Yeah.
or something like that, right? And he basically invents this theory that if you are a good enough Mazovian or a good enough Marxist, essentially, a good enough like if you're intellectual, if you're enough of an intellectual like Marxist demon, you will actually grow better turnips than the capitalists because like your theory will like actually materialize in what's I think it's something plasm. Basically, they talk about this like material that kind of like comes out of thin air.
Oh,
And
that's
it's a total
hilarious.
send up of like just the magical thinking that's involved in a lot of like left theorizing. It's just like, all we have to do is just like, and the magical thinking starts with literally like Marxism 101, Communist Manifesto, right? It's just like, this is actually a necessary function of history that capitalism will eat itself. And that may still end up being true. We're not in great shape right now, right? But
It's true.
but part of that is also that we've also like completely destroyed the planet. I think, which is not really, I think, canonical Marxism, right?
Well, I feel like we haven't actually quite hit the limit. Like capitalism may still necessarily eat itself because it's still got something left to eat.
Yeah.
We will find out.
We'll find out. But like this book is like a total like parody of the magical thinking that's like, and I bet
That's amazing.
during like high Stalinist or Maoist like either China or the Soviet Union, there was probably a lot of literature like that, where it's just like if your ideology is pure, then like physical things will manifest from that. You know what I mean?
Well, and I feel like you can witness that in North Korea, just
Yeah.
like deeply still happening there, right? Where there's like still a leader and like political belief in the party is actually like the path to real true salvation
Yeah.
in a lot of interesting ways. So yeah,
So I
It's
think
fine.
I think to go back to what you how you characterize it, you said like it's like the game's ultimate position towards the left is like the sense of like they're totally like leftist, but they're so resigned, and I would even use the word disappointed, right? Like I think
Yeah.
it's just like this like overarching sense of disappointment, right? Which kind of like just permeates the whole game, and like all of the I would actually say the portrayal of the left, if you weren't sympathetic to the left, you would actually think the game was like making fun of it, right? Because everything is
Yep.
jokes, right? It's like what is if you had to sum up communism in one word, do you remember what they summed it up as?
Oh no, I don't remember. What was it?
Failure.
Failure? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. Communism is failure, and it goes on in its very witty way for like 2 paragraphs about how communism is just about failure. And then like when you before you probably even saw this part, it's like like when you start being able to like smell people who are
Oh
communist,
yeah.
right? You're like, I have established 0.001% of communism in the world.
Yep.
When you are done, you will have established 0.002%.
Yeah, it was like that'll be your life's work, and I was like, damn, they really know where to hit you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's the reflective of like if you have the sensibility that we live in a corrupt system that needs to be kind of like transformed at its root, which doesn't mean you have to be like a raging revolutionary who's like flipping tables over. It's just that like you see the bankruptcy of what we live in right now. You're also thinking to yourself how totalitarian, and I don't mean that in like necessarily the literal, like when I say totalitarian, I just mean like it's just so thoroughly penetrated and powerful and dominant, right?
Right.
Like you know, the economic system that we live in right now, that it feels like there's just no way around it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's really. I like that it didn't actually try to offer a vision for change.
Yeah.
It wasn't like.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, so here's how to fix it. But it was kind of like, it was kind of unhopeful in that as well. It didn't actually say like, well, maybe if you try something else. It was just like, good luck, man. They brought airships with fire last time, so like, hope you don't get killed.
Right. I mean, like when they kind of like the most sober they are about essentially communism in the game is when they talk about the revolution being crushed, right? And it's like the moment where we're kind of like the screwball comedy of the game kind of just like melts away completely, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, to bring the conversation back around, like if the game is about faith and like idealism and utopianism mixed with disappointment, it's like the realest manifestation of that in the game is the left, basically, right? Like essentially, I think everything that everything that like each individual character is doing, from Cuno to the kids in the church to like the cryptozoologists, I think they're all like allegories of like the promise and complete disappointment and failure of the left, you know.
And the union too, to be honest.
Yeah, the union as well.
The union was supposed to be the thing. It's supposed to be the workers' power, but it's in fact super duper corrupt, and was just as happy to throw its workers' bodies in front of the guns,
right,
to like get its way. So
the one thing I will say about the union is
yeah.
I think it was more about like representing what the left, like what possibilities of the left are actually even manifested or even possible in that world, because like no one actually believes spiritually in the union, right? Maybe Manana.
Right. Maybe Manana.
Yeah.
Manana and weirdly Measurehead.
I don't know what to think about Measurehead. I think he was there for laughs, I think.
Yeah, he was weird.
Yeah. I
never researched critical race theory, so I'll never know.
Yeah.
Or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm curious. I thought that for a game made by what I assume was a bunch of Europeans and with some like race switching and voice acting, I thought it was actually very sensitively done with race across the board.
Sure.
And it kind of gives you room to be a flaming racist, which I think was a very interesting choice. I never took that option, but I assume Kim like does not enjoy it. So
Yeah, it's true.
Because he reacts to all the racists you meet.
I mean, I think I think it has a kind of light liberal treatment of race, to be totally honest. Like, I think, well, I don't know. There are moments where it comes through. Did you ever talk to the leader of the mercenaries when he's standing in front of the when he's when he's trying to scab the strike?
Oh, yeah. That was, dude, that shit was dark.
And he talked about what he did in yeah.
Or he's talking about what
his brother
did. Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my God,
Yeah, it's like, I feel like you can't write that and be like they clearly have no love to spare for the United States and or the Vietnam War or whatever, which I feel like they were really diving into there.
Right. But I think what it is just, maybe it's just because I'm attuned to this now because it's 2021 and so much has happened in the last, 14 months since the game was released, or even 24 months.
It's weird that this is a pre-pandemic artifact.
Yeah, right.
Because it doesn't feel like it in some ways.
It is A, before 2020, and B, not American. Right? Because I think it's not that there isn't racism in Europe, but like I think that the reckoning of race is not as in your face if you're from Europe. You know what I mean? And so in that regard, you don't see any real physical consequences of racism in the game. That's what I mean by it's kind of like a light treatment.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Like, it's not like you go into a ghetto somewhere, and maybe for good reason, because like that's a thing that's like easy to fuck up, right? It's why like I even feel a little bit embarrassed commenting on it right now. Like, what the hell do I know about racism, really, right? But
it was interesting because I thought I thought they telegraphed. I mean, everyone basically used some variety of slurs.
Sure.
Or a lot of characters did, and I felt like it was.
Kipped was like the N word, right? I think
that's what I thought. Yeah. I really liked how much sort of this leaned into like the bullshit elven fantasy language, but sort of in a modern industrial state instead. But because by the end I like sort of recognized what slurs are being thrown around. I was like, oh, like you're bad. You shouldn't.
The names were so good in that game, actually. Like, it's funny about we played a Progress Quest on this stream, and like that was like the perfect parody of like bullshit elven fantasy names.
Oh yeah.
But I thought the naming in this game was really, really good. Like
absolutely.
Like suspension of disbelief was like complete for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, they just went all in, right? Like there was not a single vestige of. I noticed they called it Earth once, and I was like, oh, are we on Earth? That's weird.
What's the opposite of Elysium? They mentioned that word. Because that's what I thought they described the current world as, is basically the opposite of Elysium.
What is the opposite of Elysium? I mean, does it have an opposite? Purgatory?
Oh, Purgatory.
Probably Purgatory.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And that makes sense, right? Essentially, the world of Disco Elysium is a purgatory, right?
Yeah.
Or even a hell, really, for some people, I think.
I would, yeah. I hope they do. I mean, I hope they do more with this, because I felt like I've just internalized a lot of strange world building, and I kind of want it to pay off.
Well, apparently they're going to make a TV series, which, God, I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay. Really? No way. Come on. How? From Sonic the Hedgehog producer.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
What could go wrong?
You gotta go fast. Take that speed, man.
But I'll tell you what, they're making a Cowboy Bebop live action right now, and John Cho is playing Spike, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm really stoked to see how.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Boy, I was, while I was playing this, I was thinking actually a lot about Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
Because it's a strangely similar cultural artifact that's about a fantasy experience and a type of music. And I don't know why.
No, I think that's true. I think there's probably some unconscious homage, if not directly. Like, you can see the influence of a lot of things in Disco Elysium, right? Like, I think. Well, True Detective is one that we talked about, and I've read interviews where like True Detective is like very directly an inspiration.
I was describing this to someone earlier today as a Matthew McConaughey simulator, and they were like, "That sounds awful." And I was like, "Yeah, kind of. It's points." They're like, "It's awful. I want to play it." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that's right."
Yeah. Did you ever have any reveal on why your character was the way he was?
Um, no, did you? I mean, beyond just like
Do the nap in the bunker, and then we'll
I
talk
need to do
about
the
it.
nap.
Yeah.
I tried it 3 times and the game crashed every time.
Okay.
That's annoying.
Hopefully it'll work.
Yeah, I'll try again.
But
I lost
even
an hour of
even with
progress
that,
trying to nap.
I will tell you what. Even with that, I didn't really get a clear answer.
From my colleagues at the precinct, I got that I had done this like I'd done a
Multiple
small
times
version of
before.
this before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I had drank myself into a stupor previously and forgotten something for a bit. So like the notion that I was experimenting with like erasing myself was put out there. But that's a very weird thing to do.
I kind of wished that there was some connection to the case or something about what you discovered halfway through investigating the case that triggered that. I wish that there was some element of that, but maybe
That would have been a very interesting and exciting addition where it's like the killer clocks you. You lose your memory and then you got to keep going.
Yeah. Or you commit some atrocity or learn something, realize that it's connected to your past and brings up regrets or something like that, right?
But it's one of those things where like not everything needed to be connected too. Like I like that Harry was sort of like everything in Martinez was part of the case, but like Harry wasn't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like Harry was just Harry, and that was kind of cool. It would just be a different choice because I can absolutely see like because making you an integral part of it would have been cool.
Yeah.
And I kept worried too. I worried that I was the murderer. I worried that I was like the person who assaulted Klasia. And the game doesn't like really give you a lot of comfort around that. They're just like, oh shit, like you really don't remember.
There was one dialogue during the tribunal where I said I was the killer.
Right? I did too. And Kim was like, shut the fuck up.
Right. Well, anyways, do the nap if you can, and then
I'm gonna try it. Yeah.
And then it doesn't really answer too much, but I think it does put it into some. I don't know. There's at least something interesting to talk about. I don't know if it actually answers the question of who the main character is.
Fair enough. And yeah, I want to finish the communist story, so I look forward to getting to that too.
Yeah.
I'll have to see how the reading group goes. It's probably going to be like some real reading groups I've been to.
I think it'll be exactly like the people who wrote this game have been to some reading groups. I think that's basically what they're saying.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious to me that the what podcast is on this?
Chapo Trap House.
Chapo, yeah.
Yeah.
I really like I'm not a fan of those guys at all, but it's kind of hilarious.
They talk like they've got the answers, right? And which is interesting because this game actually is about this game is about like not having the answers at all, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The game is about like knowing you are morally in the right and you have a morally correct interpretation of the world, but it doesn't mean anything. Like it's just utterly meaningless in the face of reality, right?
Yeah.
Which is why Joyce was great. Joyce has the same. Joyce has no disagreement with you about the moral framing of the world, but she's like, you know what? Given that, the practical thing for me to do is to be on the side of the powerful, right? Which is great.
Yeah,
it's a very real character, you know.
I like that her parting words were like, "Oh no, I get you. I'm insane too."
Yeah,
and then like just like sails off. I was like, okay, great.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, so like, yeah,
she's not weirdly not judgmental, right?
Yeah, you tell her like I lost my badge and gun, and she's like, oh, well, you should probably do something about that. And if you need me to explain reality to you, I guess I can do that too.
Right.
Did you beg her for money, by the way?
I did. I got money to pay off my to pay Gart, who's also like I love Gart.
I really liked Gart, yeah.
I really wanted to get him and Sylvie together, but I don't know if it's possible.
Oh, I fucked that up so bad. I didn't quite realize what was happening, and I didn't have a recent save, and I definitely accused someone of being on a cock carousel because that was the least bad dialogue option open to me, and it just went downhill from there. Uh,
Right.
and like the game was like, "Do you want to do the love quest? Because it's a really good quest." And I was like, "I think my brain is lying to me, but I can't tell if it's the game or the lies in my own head."
Right.
Yeah, I fucked that up. I feel bad about how I treated Sylvie because I didn't realize that the game was being shitty to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really good. Uh, do you think you'll go back and like pull some more threads, or do you feel complete?
Maybe I might go watch My Dinner with Andre again. Actually, like I kind of want. I actually will deliver that DVD to you
Oh hell yeah!
this weekend because I think you should watch it. I think you'd really enjoy it.
My dinner.
It's probably on Criterion. I don't know if you
Oh,
have.
I got it. I got HBO.
Oh, it's there.
Heck yeah!
Oh man, I don't know how you like. I feel like My Dinner with Andre like used to be a classic movie that people would make fun of. There was a scene in The Simpsons where Martin, the nerdy kid in Bart's class, does he date Lisa?
No, Milhouse tries to
Okay,
occasionally
yeah.
dates
Well,
Lisa.
Martin,
Yeah.
they're like in an arcade, and I think this was like the Conan O'Brien era. They're in an arcade, and he's playing a game he's playing like My Dinner with Andre, the video game.
All right, I think I found it.
Yeah.
So this is the whole movie, huh?
This is basically it. Yeah. Yeah, did you see the options?
Yeah, wait. I gotta pause that. That's so funny. He's played disc.
Yeah. That's going to be our
Trenchant
our
Insight and
episode
Bunwall.
screenshot. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. There you go. Yeah, this is Disco
Because
Elysium.
the dialogue of the movie is very much kind of like that, right?
Yeah, let me just take a quick screenshot of
Yeah.
that to I'll need this for later.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's one of my favorite movies, which may say a lot about me. Maybe impolite. I don't know, but like I really like it. Or it was one of my favorite movies when I was in my late 20s. Let's put it that way. So it's been a while.
Fair enough. Oh, you have to let me know if it ages well, and I will rewatch it as well. Or I will watch it as well.
Well, it's from the late 70s, so it's aged pretty well. I mean, it's in Criterion, like I think.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some of those movies from my early 20s that are not good.
Did you ever watch Metropolitan? What's the name of that director? He also did Kicking and Screaming. Well, with Stillman,
Oh.
yeah. Metropolitan has a little bit of it. Metropolitan is like My Dinner with Andre mixed with a Brat Pack movie. Also really
Alright.
talky and good. But
I do love some witty dialogue.
yeah.
See, now you just got me thinking about Disco Elysium again. Now I'm just ready to play it.
You know what game I think I'm gonna play next?
What's that?
Subnautica.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it.
I'm a little afraid of the sea, but I feel like that's part of the joy of the game.
Yeah, you need to just have someone nearby, or like play it on a remote play on a tiny screen.
I'm not gonna play it on my big screen. I've got 50 some inches of Reaper Leviathan coming my way.
Oof. I think that gets a PS5 patch in a couple weeks too.
Oh, should I wait? I should wait.
Whatever. It'll just get more frames.
Give me some frames. Give me more frames.
Who knows? Yeah, I've been trying to psych myself out to play a Resident Evil by like maybe I'll do it on a tiny screen in
Which
a
one are you
bright
gonna play?
room. 2, I think.
Okay.
The new one. Yeah.
Do we
I
have
think
any
we were
for
talking
free?
about the I have Resident Evil 1 for free for sure, and maybe 4.
Okay.
Dean, we were talking about Dean asked what's the time pressure. We were talking about Disco Elysium's the way
mechanic.
time progresses
Yeah.
while you talk to people. In a way that stressed Jeff out a lot more than me. Does the game ever tell you just have enough time? I feel like it did. I feel like maybe I just like intuited something wrong.
The game, the dream sequences tell you that you're approaching the end.
Fair enough, but that must be story wise, not necessarily time wise.
And then I think partly I spoiled it for myself because I read in passing. This game is best played. I mean, we're saying this after we spoiled the entire game, but it's best played like going in totally cold.
Yeah, that was we should have started this conversation with that
with exactly that warning. Yeah.
I mean, whatever. It's just so fucking good. Whatever. It's so enjoyable.
It's a good game. I'll probably I think maybe in like a year or two I'll be ready to play it again, and it's worth playing again, I think. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Dean, you missed all the spoilers. Just.
Oh shit.
Yeah. We're done. Okay. We're done. We talked for over an hour about this game. And it's all a bunch of pretentious bullshit, so there's no reason for you to go back and listen to it.
Yeah,
just go get Disco Elysium.
You should actually play it. It is definitely one of the best RPGs I've played in a long, long time. And it didn't feel like it wasted my time too much. Like I feel like I could have actually like played it faster, but I didn't want to. I wanted to like listen to its beautifully crafted dialogue the whole way through.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, Dean is a Coen Brothers fan, and I think that game has a lot to offer for a Coen Brothers fan. It's got existentialism in spades.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sure does.
Yeah.
Well, Dean says the dogs haven't moved. Should we move some dogs tonight? I mean,
how are we gonna play the last 40 minutes of this stream?
Let's see. So the 3D branch, it's not up. Is it not worth attacking that right now?
I haven't pushed it because it's rather gnarly.
Okay.
But
great.
I'm okay if we want to take a different approach to it than the one I was taking.
I'm gonna make your face smaller so I don't have to focus on that part of the screen anymore.
Because I was like trying to modify like 50. You know how you get into these like refactoring modes and then you end up modifying like
sometimes
50% of the files.
You delve too deep. Yeah, you pull too many threads. Yeah, I'm familiar with that experience. Maybe, yeah. What right now in this system, like the map is a 2D thing. All the entities are existing on a 2D plane.
Yeah.
And I guess that's happening because we've actually given a lot of entities a vec2 as their position.
The transform is where it all starts, basically. The transform component is a vec2, and not only that, but the orientation is a number rather than a quaternion.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Dean, I don't know if you recall, but we talked about the Big Lebowski one of these streams, I think. We were talking about the... sometimes you sometimes you eat the bear and then sometimes the bear eats you. Yeah.
But that's what you remember was
that's what I remember.
Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah.
Goodbye, dogs.
So another way that we could play this is that we basically continue forward with the way that we were doing it with the mortar. But we have like an optional 3D transform component that the renderer uses if it's present, rather than the 2D transform.
I'm trying to think what we get by being fully 3D, because 3D 3D is sort of a piece of visual flair. As we're talking about using it for this. Do we think we ever have a mechanic that relies on 3D collisions?
The only thing is if we have multiple layers of terrain, which...
Yeah, but even that I would attack in the... I mean, we've talked about that, but I was thinking about it in the StarCraft way, where
you would
in
think
fact
it's
two 2D planes, and yeah, there's like you're in a switching mode. Yeah, because being able to attack one or both is like sort of an interesting... It's just interesting. So I like the idea of a 3D transform component. I think that makes.
Do you remember how I told you I was playing a game called Crosscode? Which has a kind of like isometric, SquareSoft kind of looking, or like Zelda: Link to the Past kind of perspective.
Yeah, this sucker had some really. I mean, it looks super vintage, and then things move in very non-vintage ways, which I thought was interesting.
The simulation is actually in 3D.
Is it?
It's
Okay.
interesting, yeah, because you can jump. There's like multiple layers of jumping.
Huh.
Um,
Okay.
the platforming in the game is actually 50% amazing and 50% awful. So it averages out to being okay.
Great.
But yeah, like in fights like this, you're on the ground plane, so it's not like it's that interesting. But
But there is jumping.
there
I
is
saw
jumping, and that's
over.
all done in
Yeah.
3D.
Huh.
They have a tech blog on their website that talks about that
That's
basically talks about
fascinating.
their representation
Huh.
of the character, and it's like a 3D vector. Looks a little bit like Hyperlight Drifter. Yeah, a little bit. A little
Yeah,
bit.
it's kind of like a Hyperlight Drifter Secret of Mana crossover, huh?
It's not as synthwave as Hyperlight Drifter. Yeah, I think Secret of Mana is a good almost like probably the direct antecedent, right? They've got these like big bosses.
I've never played Hyperlight Drifter. I really should.
I
It's
haven't
great.
either, actually. Dean, did you play it?
Is it great? I hear it's great.
I mean, I've heard it's super hard.
Yeah, but I just bought Returnal, which I think is going to punish me.
Yeah. I played a
Dean says
game
yes.
that came
Okay.
out right around the same time as Hyperlight Drifter called, was it Wizard of Legend? I don't think that was it.
I remember that. Oh,
Oh, yes, it was
Disaster
Wizard of Legend. Yeah.
Disaster Piece doing the soundtrack is great. I
Yeah.
love Disaster Piece. I used to put on the Hyperlight Drifter soundtrack as like programming music. I've definitely heard
Oh,
it.
really? I should do
It's
that.
going to be interesting. Yeah.
So this game looks really awesome, but I kind of could. It was kind of repetitive and also just too hard.
Oh, that's too bad. I will. Disaster Piece is like these albums on Spotify are actually just all great.
Yeah, ESK is saying that Hyperlight Drifter is like visually kind of hard to read, which is always like. Speaking of games that are hard to read, Disco Elysium is hard to read, right?
It's so hard to read.
It's hard to read, both in literally like the text is too small, but also just like what is interactable, what is not. Like I said, like as a game, it kind of is terrible, right? Like, did you try to fast travel in that game ever?
Yeah, I broke it.
Oh man, man, fast travel just like that game. I don't know what the hell.
Narita Boy. What is Narita Boy? Oh, cool. Dean just backed this. Is this like a little? Whoa. I thought it was gonna be a Mega Man vibe.
Oh, this looks amazing.
Oh shit! Yeah, I want to play the heck out of this.
You know what this looks like is it just shipped. He says.
Oh, sick.
What it looks like is Another World and also a Flashback Quest for Identity. Did you ever play Flashback?
No, I played Another World though.
Another World's friggin' awesome.
What is this?
Oh,
Oh
this looks
shit! It took them 5 years. God damn
great.
it!
Why are we trying to make a game? These guys just made our game.
It's gonna take us 5 years. Oh, what? This is so.
You know what this
good.
actually looks like is Sword and Sorcery.
I was gonna say it reminds me of Sword and Sorcery and Serial Experiments Lane having some sort of like
Yeah.
strange baby, which is great.
Yeah. They really did a good job on the sword feel. Like the way that these sword hits look.
Yeah. There's some solid camera shake going on here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Great art direction.
holy cow. Is it? I wonder if is it Super Brothers? Is it actually the same Sword and Sorcery people?
They're working. Super Brothers are working on like a PS5 game, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to ride a floppy disk across the ocean. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Transistor kind of had that aesthetic too, right? The sort of like organic circuit
computer.
board
Yeah.
kind of thing, like literal circuit boards.
What
This game
the
looks
hell?
dope. Studio
Dude,
Koba?
wait.
Are they Japanese? I doubt it.
Oh, cool. So this just came out.
Is it bad that things that
man.
things that overtly have a Japanese aesthetic I trust to not actually be Japanese?
I mean, it's not an unfair guess.
Did we talk about Teenage
mean-
Engineering? Do you know what
No,
that
but
is? The OP1.
OP1, no. Huh. Cool.
This thing is like hot shit. It's been out for a while. Our mutual
I've
friend
seen these
Boima had
before.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it is like gear porn, and it's so funny. If you go to their website, it's like, if you go to the website, it's like now only $1,400, and I think it's like twice as much as it was when it came out originally. I don't know what it is. Maybe they.
Dean says. Oh, I was gonna say Dean. Dean was saying the Teen Engineer is cool, but this is the new one.
Oh my god! This is the next evolution.
What is going on?
This is a tracker. So you know the way that you would make music for like the NES is in a mod tracker.
What?
Like the timeline goes vertically.
Oh, I see what's happening.
And like
That's
basic, it's
really
all binary,
cool.
or hexadecimal for like pitches and things. Yeah.
Oh my god, look at this. Okay.
But Teenage Engineering's their brochure is all like it's in Japanese, but
Are they actually Japanese?
no, they're from Sweden.
Oh no! Why would you do that?
Yeah. It's like do you know the clothing brand Superdry?
No, super dry.
They totally copped the Japanese aesthetic, but they're
Are they just doing a Uniqlo, but not actually Uniqlo?
See, they have the kind of like. See, they have
that's
Japanese. It looks
I
like a
saw
Muji,
that, yeah.
right? It looks exactly like Muji.
Mm-hmm. Boy, it's such a choice to make that you just don't need to make.
But yeah, the OP1
yes.
brochure is like it's like all in like tiny Helvetica Japanese, and
This is in English at least, but yeah.
they have a PDF brochure.
Oh, maybe. Interesting. OP1 cookbook PDF. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I'm into Reddit. This shit makes me want to make more gadgets. Yeah, dude. This shit makes me want to buy Narita Boy. God damn.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, they have actually someone named Chie Wakabayashi on their staff, which is
There you go.
as Japanese a name as you could possibly go for. Oh, they are Japanese, are they?
Yeah. There you go. Someone there is. I mean, dude, this is sick. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, when it
What
comes
engine
to
is this made with?
That's a great question.
gotta
I think
be
Kickstarter
Unity,
will
right?
tell us.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Narita Boy engine. Everything is Unity. Yeah, there you go. I thought I typed the word Unity. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have typed Unity, but no,
Yeah.
I guessed. Disco Elysium was Unity, which honestly, like, I don't know. I'm amazed they pumped that much content through this engine.
I'm amazed that like Outer Wilds is Unity. And I'm in that Discord with some of my old game development buddies, or at least people that worked with people that I used to work with. So I feel like a bit of a stranger, but all they do is like trash Unity all day. I guess that's what happens when you work with it professionally.
I mean, all I do is trash browsers all day. So
It's
like,
true.
sure.
It's true.
And mobile platforms.
I think that's the fate of working in computers, is to hate the thing that you work on, or hate the technology that you work with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The thing about making things is sometimes what you really want is to experience or own them.
This game was awesome. It's on PS4. It's on Switch.
PS4. Yeah. This is such a nerd snipe of my weekend.
I might get this game.
Yeah, you should. This is worth $25. It's on Mac. Play it on your Mac. Yeah, Dean, I think, when I was a kid, I was like, I really want to go work for Apple. Like, I want to make iPhones or whatever. I thought their laptops were cool when it was that. I'm really glad I never did, because I think I would actually like have hated seeing the sausage made on a thing I enjoy using. Yeah, it's not appetizing, says ESK, and I agree. So we should definitely make video games.
Well, here's the silver lining. Is that the reason why I even play video games right now? Because I fell out of games in a major way in my early 20s, right? But the reason why I play games right now is I felt like it was like incumbent on me, because I got a job as a game programmer, because my friend was like, hey, I need someone to I need a warm body to sling code. Can you come and do that? And I was like, okay. And the reason why I even play games right now is because I was like, I enjoyed making them so much. So that's the silver lining. I think working on games ends up being a lot more fun than playing them.
I think so. And the nice thing is, like, there's I feel like it must be like being in a movie. Like you don't necessarily play your own or watch your own movie after it's all said and done,
Sure.
but you sure don't stop enjoying others. So I don't think it ruins the entire category of thing.
Yeah.
Versus working on like a laptop, you have to do all day long.
Yeah.
Like if I saw the flaws in the thing and I could fix them, that would be terrible.
Right. So do we want to just animate the mortar in 3D and see where it takes us?
I think so. Yeah, let's just do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems fine. And we still have this 2-second curve on it, right? I want to actually solve the quadratic equation, but maybe let's add the 3D component and do like a fixed non-parabolic arc. Just animate a value through there and see what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that crazy? Am I gonna have to solve the quadratic equation? Let's find out.
Not crazy. This almost seems like we want a parabolic envelope. We talked about envelopes last time.
Yeah.
Because envelopes, the domain goes from 0 to 1. It goes from like basically beginning, start to end. And then like what you're saying is that like you basically want it to however long it actually takes it to get to its destination, you always want it to follow a constant change in its like vertical position, constant relative to the percentage of its flight that it's consumed. So not relative to the literal distance that it's traveled, but like if it's gone 25% of the way, I want it to be 25% through the height graph, right?
Yep.
So we are basically
Exactly.
talking about an envelope here. Yeah.
Yeah. That seems like a simple approach. Let's see. I'm gonna copy some of the transform stuff real quick.
Sure.
And let's see. Not necessarily 3D transform, but 3D animation.
You can call it just like transform 3. I think that's
Okay.
fine. And we'll know what it's for.
Yeah, and we might actually. This might be the start of being able to move some stuff over. So that seems good.
Yeah. And orientation is probably going to be a quad.
Orientation will be a quad. Yep,
Line 8.
that seems right. Bring on the quads. Come on. Pop that size up. There we go. And this becomes a transform 3. Cool. These are probably matte.
That whole function we don't even call. You could actually delete it from transform as well.
Great. Oh, really?
Yeah, I noticed that we don't even call it anywhere.
Oh, great. Solves that problem.
I wonder
cool.
if there's
So
some kind of like whole program linter that we could run that says like you don't actually ever use this symbol, and if you're not planning on using it, then you should probably chuck it.
That must be out there.
Yeah, that's actually the way it is with the Rust. When you use Rust Analyzer, which is one of the language servers, they'll complain if you never use a particular symbol. It's actually quite annoying.
Oh yeah, well, I hate when you're doing Rust and it's like it really blows up when you haven't used variable. I'm like, I know I haven't. Like that's why I'm writing a function.
Well, at least it'll compile. Go won't compile if you have a variable in it that you didn't use.
It's really
It's
really
very
extra.
that language is very paternalistic, in a way that I half love and half hate. So I think it averages out to be okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
God, I'm not even gonna pop the cork on the DHH paternalistic benefits conversation.
Oh.
We'll save that for next stream. Let's see how many more blog posts there are between now and Monday.
Yeah, he's probably got a few more implosions in him, right?
Yeah, what's he gonna do on the weekend when he doesn't have to go to work?
Yeah,
He's gotta pop out those blog posts.
Did you see that one blog post they had on their website which shows like the photos of their offices? And everyone's is just like, okay, yeah, that's the work from home office. And then DHH's is like this ridiculous corner like villa with some custom fiberglass desk.
Is it on the Basecamp blog?
I think so. I think it's the Basecamp blog, like showing their like work from home. It was actually linked to in one of the in that one article that was making fun of DHH, the one that you sent me actually. So
Okay.
it was the think piece you sent me.
That was a pretty good think piece. I enjoyed it. I think it went a little too far occasionally, but let's see.
It might have been in our general channel.
We might have switched out of that for eventually. Whew. Everyone enjoy the serious stuff. God, we talked a lot about this today.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Basecamp.
It's not that one.
That's right. It's above it. Yeah. Fucking Basecamp, man.
That could be DHH, but it's our good old buddy Elon Musk. I don't think it's this far back. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay. Do you follow my Twitter? You read me on Twitter, right?
I do.
Did you see the worst NFT in the world that I posted today?
Which is the NFT? Was it the Disaster Girl one?
Maybe. Was it the Elon Musk Ziggy Stardust?
What? God.
It was truly offensive. Let's see. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Wait, who made this?
Some
Is he wearing
Twitter
the
person.
Mass Effect uniform?
I was trying to figure out what he was wearing. I think he kind of looks like he's dressed like Gordon Freeman too, or maybe like a Darth Vader costume. It's really unclear. But yeah, Ziggy Starmusk is no good.
So is it? Should my takeaway from this be that like Ziggy like David Bowie's?
Sorry, I tweeted this earlier and Dean saw it. Sorry, man. That's what happens on the stream.
Should I be pleased that like David Bowie's appeal is so universal that like someone would make an Elon Musk David Bowie mashup? Or should I just be fatally insulted that somebody could misunderstand David Bowie so thoroughly to create something like that?
Well, I think, ESK's in here, like, Bowie would have
That's exactly what I'm
thing.
asking ESK. It's the same thing. It's just like, this is like the exact opposite of what David Bowie's about, right?
I feel like, it's like, did you just never, have you not listened to David Bowie's music? Because, like, I don't think you have.
Oh my gosh.
It's like the current conservative trend of using Rage Against the Machine as their battle anthem.
That's perfect.
And I'm just like, did y'all ever listen to that music? Like, pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, there
not into that.
There were people like, during the whole recount. What am I talking about? Like the election fraud period of our lives, which is not that long ago, who were like out in the streets listening to Killing in the Name, and they were like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I know. So weird. So strange. It turns out you don't have to actually hear the music or listen
and
to
there
it
were a
to
lot of
listen to
like
it.
really earnest, the earnest Facebook and Twitter posts saying, I'm not going to listen to Rage anymore, because like Tom Morello was saying something like on Twitter about how like it's Tom Morello, like he's just saying some shit about Trump or whatever, and he's like, I'm not going to listen to Rage anymore. I'm like, what were you listening to Rage in the first place for?
Rage entirely in favor of the machine, says ESK. Not quite as popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy. So yeah, Elon Musk stands being very into Ziggy Stardust. Boy, that's a hard one to swallow.
Yeah,
difficult pills to swallow.
I feel very there was a time when I was like in my music fandom where I was like always accusing bands of selling out. I don't know if you ever had that phase. You seem like too nice a guy to have that phase. Like,
I think I might have been too nice for that. Yeah.
Okay. That was a piece of my personality. Maybe you can tell, but then I went to the phase where it's like, you know what? These musicians don't make a lot of money, and if they want to put their song on a commercial, whatever, good for them. Bully for you, But now it's like, so we have Hulu, but we have Hulu with ads. It's just like the level that we pay for like the lowest amount of Hulu. And now when I hear a song on a commercial, like this isn't intentional at all. It might be a perfectly fine song, but it just like I've seen, because you binge watch, you end up running into the same commercial like 5 times in the same half an hour like show.
Oh, it's rough,
and
yeah.
you start to hate the music, right? Like there is a legitimately corrosive effect that like putting a song in a commercial, has. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's get these bullets flying in an arc.
I'm with you. No, that was very good. All right, put a 3 on here. Yeah, I'm slowly but surely filling in some of these things. So great. Now our bullet has a transform 3.
Yeah.
Ta-da. Okay, so I guess this goes on the bullet system, and then we're gonna hand this. We're just gonna let the renderer like do this. We're gonna modify something in the renderer based on this.
So I think what the general idea is twofold. One is that the bullet system, the thing that moves the bullets, will update both the regular transform and the transform 3 in tandem.
Yeah,
one of it for like game simulation purposes and the other just for rendering purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the renderer will attempt to grab a transform 3 off of the entity before it grabs the regular transform.
Gotcha. Do we even... Okay, great. So it's right... Where is this node coming from? This is a render node. Do we have to process this before? Probably a little earlier than this in the pipeline.
It's going to be quite a bit before this. So if you go to get renderables in the client sim,
mm-hmm.
I think it might be get renderables 3D. Oh.
This is our default one now. We got 2D as our, great. Okay.
Yeah, this is where we
yeah.
grab the transform.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. So that reminds me that this needs... Yeah, that is how I'd rate that, isn't it?
It is. And yeah, there would be no exclamation point there. And like basically we'd say like, if you have a transform 3, then we're going to create the model to world matrix based on that.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we're going to create the model to world matrix from the regular transform. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense.
I have a colleague at work who's part of TC39. Do you know what that is?
No.
TC39 is the committee that decides what goes into the next version of ECMAScript.
Oh, that's cool.
And he gave a presentation on the pattern matching proposal for JavaScript coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Have you used a language that does pattern matching before?
What is that?
It's a little bit like you know how you can do destructuring in JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
You basically make a switch statement where you can destructure a variable like a couple different ways, and like it basically allows you to kind of like have polymorphism in a switch statement in JavaScript. So you basically say like, imagine like the switch statement takes a value, but then your case is a destructuring statement. So basically what you're saying is if the variable matches this structure, do this case branch. And if it matches a different structure, like do this other case branch.
I have seen this go by. Yeah. Cool.
You might have seen it when you did Rust, because like Rust has the match for instead of switch.
Yeah, I didn't quite internalize it all the way though.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I think Swift might have a little bit of this.
Swift pattern matching. Yeah, Ruby. They had a proposal for it that's really bad. For
that's too bad.
It wouldn't surprise me that Swift has some kind of pattern match.
Yeah.
Oh yes, this is a little bit like that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
No,
that's not real. Yeah, but I this is at least my experience. Stuff like this, yeah.
One cool thing about it, though, is that the match statement is an expression rather than a statement, so it actually evaluates to whatever the individual branch evaluates to. So you could say, like, x equals a switch statement, right? Or x equals, like, an if-else ladder. And I've wanted that for so long in this language.
That's really cool.
What made me think about that is that, like, in the client sim code that you were modifying, wouldn't it be neat to just assign the value of the if-else block that you created to the model to world matrix.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean this is classic Rubyism that I really do miss.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if they just brought that forward, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Boy, I feel like we're maybe a couple too deep on not undoing this pattern yet. This is where the code gen goes.
I think there's a list that you also want to insert that transform 3 into.
I think I did, but let me find the reuse of transform.
Oh, okay. Is it pushed into the all containers array right there? It is. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, totally. I just went top to bottom and demo, but yeah, not equal undefined. Not equals. Cool. And then I guess we will need we can do a const mat4 equals mat4 dot create, I guess.
Ooh, or model to world, yeah.
Yeah.
Very clever.
I gotta something has clicked in my head about just creating these things in advance.
Yeah. Do you want to maybe? Oh, yeah. There you go.
M2W. Boom. I do want to save changes, but you normally don't ask. Okay. Cool. And then this one is probably, I feel like we can transform 3 dot orientation.
You don't even need the identity right there. You just
it's just that, right? It's a quad.
Yeah.
And then this is just transform 3. Yeah. It's immutable. Time to redefine this.
Yeah.
Damn.
I got a Command T and then or whatever your fast open is, and then GL space index. That's the second one there.
There we go. Yep. And what method am I looking for from? I feel like we might have already done this. No, we totally didn't.
Do we have a mat4 namespace yet?
Let's find out.
Oh, we do. Cool.
Cool. We have firm rotation, but not firm rotation translation. Okay. Firm rotation translation, and this takes a mat4, a quat, which I'll make an immutable, and a vec3 immutable.
Yeah, so it's pretty close to this one.
Yeah. So let's see what it calls this parameter real quick.
Q and
Q. Great. So helpful. Immutable quat.
It's so cool that they do that.
I know,
this is
bless
such
you,
a nicely
TypeScript.
designed tool. They really threaded the needle. I just would have thought it was impossible to do everything you can do with TypeScript.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the TypeScript fan blog continues, and we are it.
Yeah.
So let's see. So what's happened here is that I gave every bullet a 3D transform.
Which means that it's not rendering, which makes sense.
Nothing,
or it's probably rendering at the
render.
center of the screen or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. There's the bullets. You are correct. I can run to them and nothing happens, but they will hit. Okay, great. Yeah, I can put some rockets in there. I like that the rockets are still actually totally visible.
Oh, because of the particle emitters.
If
That's
we put
super
an emitter,
cool. Yeah.
Well, if you put an emitter on the mortar, it also needs to respect the 3D transform. We can punt on that for now.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Sweet. Okay. So let's see. I may be in the bullet entity. I'm only going to do this if it's mortar. Let's break as little as possible.
Mm-hmm. We do have an if not mortar on line 52. Maybe
I thought I was just thinking about using that. Maybe flip the conditional, so have a mortar branch and a not mortar branch.
That's fine.
Yeah. What is going on?
I also don't hate it if you create a completely separate if block as well. Because there's two different ways you could read this. One is that this is the stuff for mortars and this is the stuff for non-mortars, or that the block between 46 and 53 is about the damager.
Yep.
and the block between 56 and 58 is about the transform, right?
Yeah, I kind of like keeping it separate
Okay.
because it's I'd rather have a block per type if we're going to do that.
Totally
This is
reasonable.
weird. I guess the other thing we could do is we could have the mortar block delete the damager. That actually might be like this could do e.damager is undefined if we wanted, and then unroll this conditional. But whatever. I think it depends how the bullets shake out.
Cool.
Alrighty, so that means you're good, and you don't shoot anything.
It's a fun weapon.
Gets there eventually. I really do like the shelling that we've added.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess the simplest start is maybe doing the exact same thing, but radial translate. Do we have a radial translate 3?
We don't. I don't think it's that hard to write.
Because we wrote this ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So we probably need. Well, let's actually think what we do need here. We want to take the 2D position. We want to take the updated 2D position, add our 3D coordinate to it, and then rotate it. Are we thinking that we basically take the XZ and continually overwrite it? Because I think that's probably the best answer, right?
Yeah, we would take the XZ literally, right? But then we have to figure out what the Y position is.
Yep. But I wonder if that actually, like, we don't actually need radial translate for that right now.
I agree, we don't.
Yeah. So this is vec3 dot. Oh, are we doing? Do I have temps in here? This is maybe not a temp thing yet. We'll get there. I guess we probably need.
Yeah. For now, don't worry about the temps. Just do a vec3 create, and then if that's what happens, it happens.
Yep. And I was gonna say we don't actually need. I need to import vec3 probably and make this a constant. I was going to say we don't need the previous values at all, actually. New pause 0. This is what we're filling in. This is new pause 1. Because this is
negative
purely
new pause 1.
Negative new pause 1. Oh, thank you. Because this middle value is purely a function of the TTL, if we do it this way.
The TTL is the same for every shot. Is that the way we designed it? I forget. Oh, yes, it is. It's constant.
Oh, sorry. Then next lifetime. Next lifetime. Yeah. This is a function of next lifetime. Were we to do that?
Right. So you could almost think of it as next lifetime. Like the Y position is a function of next lifetime, or maybe more directly next lifetime divided by mortar TTL, because that's basically the percentage of the flight that it's
Yep.
And the way that we could do this is what is the formula for an upside down parabola whose which starts at the origin and then crosses the x-axis again at the x equals 1.
That is a great question.
So to flip it, it's just negative x squared. Negative x squared is the upside down parabola, right? And then to move it over to the right by basically
really
1 unit, is it x? It's like negative parentheses x minus 1 squared.
To move this over.
So x minus 1 and then and close parentheses, and then do plus 1 at the very end. Something like that.
Yeah, I think so. That's pretty close. Is it this expression over 2?
I think it's just actually. I think you had it right. I think minus 1 is what we want it to be.
Well, this takes 2 units. Is that?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Then
we wanted it to hit on 1,
then
right?
it's then it's 0.5. Like x over 2. You're right.
Yeah,
X
x
divided
over
by 2
2
minus 1, or x
minus
2x minus 1.
2x minus 1. This graphing calculator is shockingly intuitive. Bingo. There you go. Cool.
Okay. So that plus 1 at the end is how high we want the bullet to go in tiles at its maximum.
Okay.
Okay. And then the x that we plug into that function is next lifetime divided by mortar TTL. That's the percentage.
Cool. So let's try 3 tiles, and then our new y is going to be negative 2 times percentage. This one is also the max height, right? It's the same constant both times?
No, it's just minus 1.
Just minus 1. Cool.
It's in units of the percentage.
Gotcha. So math.pow of that.
Yeah.
2 plus max height. Is that it?
I think that'll do it.
I'm going to fire a mortar. It's a rocket. Okay. Still nothing. Let's see what's going on at the center of the map.
Do you see it spawning at the center of the map? Oh. So maybe maybe the -1 is wrong. Can you get rid of the on line 86?
Yeah. You think the -1 is wrong?
Maybe I was wrong about the no. I'm sorry. On the not 85, 86.
Oh, the negative. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I think you were maybe right, but our renderer is sort of
flipping it
already. Oh yeah, cool. Whoop, whoop. So this seems to explode at the top of the parabola, but is otherwise great.
Okay.
Does it?
You might be right.
Wait, it's really.
It's not quite making it all the way, right?
Yeah. Now, what? So, if we're going up to 3 tiles, is this going to return to 0? Because it looks like it doesn't even start at 0, for what it's worth. It looks like it starts actually quite high.
Off the ground? I don't know how to explain that. Because it should we're like. Unless there's something in the rendering code that I haven't accounted for, right? You know how we were pulling the model to world transform directly out?
I guess maybe one question is, our quaternion for this is question mark?
It should just be the identity, right? How is it being created right now?
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's the identity.
Creating the identity are the same for quaternions? I know that's not always the case.
Identity sets a quaternion to the identity. The function called quat.identity sets an pre-existing one, but when you create it, it sets it to the identity.
It initializes with that. Yeah. Great. Okay. Cool.
That doesn't look right, though, right?
It doesn't look quite right. Yeah.
But it's also not 100% wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
look at me. I was looking at
there's an arc. Yeah. Yeah, you've been influenced by Mazovian social economics to your positive vibes are going to make
optimism despite everything.
Well, your positive vibes are going to grow better potatoes, according to Mazov. So
yeah, turnips, as it were.
Excuse me, the true proletarian food.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, that's not what I expected. And wait, I got. Is it doing a different behavior at different angles? It's not really. I just want to log out this Y value. I'm curious, sort of what.
Sure.
And what this. I'm curious what the shape of this is over time. Hopefully, not foolishly. All right. Oh yeah, starts at 2. Great. Starts at 2.
Oh, because of the +2. Well.
plus 3 here,
Plus
minus
3.
1. Does this... wait. Let's do... So if we were to say this is plus 3, this needs to be minus 3. Minus 6?
You did plus 13. I don't think that's going to affect it.
Well, it's certainly not plus 13.
Yeah.
Well, so this is the arc we get, actually. That's cool. That looks exactly right for where we start.
Correct. Yeah. That means we need to move it over a little bit.
Yeah, and it's weird that it's not...
What if you did minus 1 divided by 3?
And 2 is better, but it takes 2 units. Is this 3x minus 3 to minus 1.5? Weird. 3x minus 1.5 is closer. I'm definitely eyeballing that with just it's still not right.
Yeah, there's a way to do this algebraically, right?
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
So, I just want
to take this back to the original 2x minus 1? Yeah.
Right. So, what if you made it 6x rather than 2x? What does that look like?
Okay. So
it doesn't go any higher, right? It just changes the narrowness of it. That causes the parabola to get narrower. And
yeah, that's correct.
The constant inside the parentheses moves it to the left and right, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
right. Yeah, this is okay. Yep.
And then the constant at the very end moves it up and down, but also
riddle me this, because I see. So this is like a 1 unit parabola in our notion, but when I move it forward by 2,
I know. Multiply the entire expression by 3. So multiply put this entire thing. No, like literally the whole
the
right-hand
entire
side.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is a 1-to-1 thing. Cool. Okay, 3.
Yeah, this is gonna do it.
3. Oops, too many parentheses.
Yep.
Yeah, sure does. Cool. Great.
And
why
makes
that
total sense to me now. Yeah.
Because now we're just
scaling
really
the graph
magnitude
by 3. Yeah, vertically.
Yep. All right.
Oh my god, that was awesome. Whatever that view was. There we go.
What the fuck? Wait, it sinks into the earth.
That's...
and then explodes in the correct spot. Why? It's, you know what? We're gonna rename this weapon the torpedo.
Yeah, I wonder. That's an interesting effect.
Let me make sure I got the math over here right. Am I using the same function? No, I'm not. This is 2.
Okay. Whew.
Yeah.
It does look like it kind of gets sucked in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that. Is it just a perspective?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Let's take another look at what we're logging here. Yeah, you like this view when the camera's actually like a little broken. I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts off pretty close to 0. Definitely makes it up to 3-ish. seems to come back down correct. That's really weird. It's almost like, huh? Are we possibly not doing the math on the duration long enough?
That's
Like,
possible.
Did it slow down before it hit its target before?
It could be that the next lifetime calculation is bad.
Possibly. I mean, this looks a lot better.
It looks better for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're a little over time, but I'll at least put this in Git.
Okay. And then obviously, like, the rotation can then be the orientation of the bullet can be a function of how far along it is as well, right?
Yeah, I was gonna cheat and make this a sphere, though. We were gonna.
Oh yeah, it's just a grenade.
We were gonna game design our way out of this one. Git commit.
A real mortar. I don't even know what a real mortar kind of has fins on the end of it.
A mortar shape. Does it? Nope. That's not what I wanted at all. Explosive.
Yeah.
Ah, there you go. I mean, it does make sense. You want it to go the place it's going, right?
I think what it does is it falls and then the fins stabilize it, right? Something like that.
Oh, interesting. That's pretty cool, actually. What are we? Session 89. So many wonderful things have been said tonight that I can't even remember, but I think it's rage entirely in favor of the machine.
Yeah.
Not tip BSK. Excellent. All right, comrade.
Nice.
Yeah. Happy Thursday. Are you also getting your vaccine this weekend?
Saturday, man. You and me. What time are you going?
Noon?
I think I'm 1 p.m.
All right. Well, I'll high five you on the way out of the Berkeley racetrack.
Nice.
Dean, thanks for hanging out. See you later.
Take it easy, Dean.
All right. Cheers.
Later.